that you've done, but right now we're looking at churned up, which is a churn dash, but kind of different, right? It's like the basic churn dash, but made really different and interesting. So first, how did you come up with this idea? Walk me through the process of how you decided to make this pattern.
Okay. Well, I love the history of quilts and older patterns and blocks. And I love taking a traditional block and kind of turning it on its ear, doing something fresh with it. And I had a while back been thinking about deconstructing a churn dash block, which I thought, well, that's pretty simple. And you see the tossed 9 patches, or Jenny Doan from Missouri Star Quilt Company does, I forget what she calls it, but it's basically a hacked up hourglass block. And I thought, I want to do that with a churn dash block.
Yeah.
But then the math wouldn't come out right. So I just started playing with some of that math. And then Krista Watson, who's the most excellent sit-down, or not the maybe, but one of the most excellent sit-down quilters.
Right.
And she was coming out with her new line with Venetex called Modern Marks. And I had met her, I took a workshop with her, and I had met her, and her energy is infectious. And she put out a call for, in a group on Facebook, she put out a call for any of the quilt pattern designers who would like to perhaps try her new fabric line in one of their patterns. And of course, I raised my hand in a second, because I knew that her fabric would be great in this design. And I plugged it in, and she loved the digital copy of it, and I ran with it and made it. And that's how that launched and got started back in December.
That's really cool. And then what's happened to the pattern? You have it on Etsy. What are your thoughts about the next step with this?
Next steps with that, I'm having a graphic designer who actually happens to be my sister-in-law.
That's great.
Do some branding work for me on patterns, because I have another one coming out this summer, and I wanted to have a more consistent feel. And while I can do the writing, the technical writing and everything, I think I have that down, right?
Yeah.
But the actual, like the cover art and everything, I needed to be more consistent with my brand. So once I get that together, I would like to relaunch that branding. And then with this particular pattern, I think, I just re-released it with 3 sizes. The initial release was only 1 size. So I thought, well, that'll reach a larger audience. And I'd like to maybe get back to it and do it in a few different colorways.
Yeah, I think this is really great. All right, so I'm looking at the legal bits, you called it, the super great. So all rights reserved, right? It's registered. Did you register the trademark? Good girl. This is great. Good job.
I did.
That's good, right? People need to register their trademark. It's not that hard, right? Not hard at all. Not that hard, not that expensive, right? Everybody just do it. You can go through LegalZoom. We have a clinic we're getting up and running eventually at Tulane. Not yet. Don't ask me. Not yet. But you can just go, and it's not hard. It's not hard. Photocopying or just distribution of this pattern or any of its content, including text and images, is strictly prohibited. This pattern is for personal use only and may not be mass produced. So what you're worried about is what with that? So you want people to use it for their own personal. You want me to make a quilt, but you don't want me to send it to China to make a quilt. Is that right?
You're right.
That's right. And then what about the guilds? How do you feel about the guilds using your stuff?
I haven't been approached on that yet, so I haven't given it a lot of thought.
So they sometimes will email and ask if they can have it either for free or at a reduced rate or a bulk price or wholesale.
Yeah, I would do a bulk price or a reduced rate. If they were doing something charitable with it, I could consider free. But, it took time to write it, so I'd like to make a little money off of it.
Well, okay, so your directions. I love your directions because they're very clear. It is very clear. You are very clear. So if people don't like directions that are unclear, they want really good ones. You have I like the scissors. Like, you know exactly that actually is a cutting line. I'm so going to try to make your quilt at least like one square. I don't really make the whole quilt because I don't have time. But this is really good. So I can see your technical like it's very clear. It's not cruddied up. It's really beautiful. So you can see that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great. So I want to just try one square to sort of see, like, can I follow it? I'm not very good at following directions. So I'm really, I'm like the good test person. I get kind of, it's nighttime. I'm kind of not, I'm like, I can skip that step, and then terrible things happen. Right?
Ironically, I'm not very good at following directions either.
You aren't? That's really great. I love it. Well, it's really cool. It's really great. Now, have you a distributor yet? Are you doing anything like what's going to happen to this pattern besides the Etsy? Do you know what you're going to do next with it?
Someday I'll have a distributor. I don't yet, but I will. It's in the cards.
Got it. And so one of the things we're thinking about doing, because I find people at your stage a lot, is trying to do some sort of almost consignment thing where you send us a couple of sets, 2 or 3 patterns, and then there's a quilt shop in town that's willing to try it out, and then we would send you money if they sold. But something that gets you into a shop that says, and I'm selling I have a shop and magazine, in New Orleans that's selling my patterns. So we're thinking about this. Does this sound like an interesting thing? Like, I have 2 people that are interested in doing it, I think, but we'd have like a little Just Wanna Quilt area that's sort of like, hey, our newest people, listen to them on the podcast, and here's their patterns for $10. So you still can say, sell them for whatever you want. It's just we don't have we can't do anything wholesale because we don't have any money on the project. But the idea is sort of to do something like that. Does that sound fun?
Absolutely. That sounds, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'd love to come down to New Orleans.
Oh, and they really want people to teach classes, too. So that would be cool. And you're like Atlanta. So, you're spitting distance. It's like totally, you could do this. All right. This is so insanely great. All right. So we're at half an hour, which is hard to believe, right? We talked about nothing. We have one thing that we talked about. But people are like, make them shorter. But it's like, well, there's a lot to talk about. We haven't talked about anything. So
maybe we need a part 2.
We need a part 2. So will you sign up again for part 2, maybe when you come back, so that we can do a show right when you get back before you forget everything. And then I'm going to post this. Do we need to do do you want to see it before it gets posted? Let me listen to it. And we didn't really say anything exciting, right? Yeah, we're not very exciting. But we're definitely going to have a field trip to your house. So I'm super psyched.
Awesome. I can't wait to have you.
I can't either. This is going to be great. Okay, so I am going to make a square while you're gone. I'm going to bring it with me and sort of show you how well I did or didn't do. And we're going to have a great adventure. And you're going to come back on a field trip. And we're just going to be doing lots of really cool things. We'll just keep doing stuff.
Oh, it'll be fabulous. And I can't wait to see you at QuiltCon, too.
Oh, yes, right? I'm so psyched about that. Yeah. So, two lectures and a workshop. So, the workshop will be... So, the workshop I'm psyched about, because I've been thinking about this for a long time, is how do you teach copyright through actually the process of quilting so that it isn't abstract? Sort of what is idea expression, aesthetic separability, all that. So, in 3 hours, can you teach... copyright by having people make a quilt? That's the idea.
Sure. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
I hope. Yeah. I hope. We'll see if Fanny signs up. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. I am so psyched. This is so much fun. Okay, we got a lot to do. This is just a quick getting ready thing. Now we're going to be doing a lot of stuff together. So that's good.
Fantastic. I'll get my quilting-army boots on.
Totally. And we're going to actually get we're going to have more stuff for being a quilting. We're working on that. So let's chat more. Think about the thing about maybe sending, if you're interested, we'll talk more. By the time you get back, we should have it organized in terms of the consignment thing. So we're trying to get an app to do it that would make it easy for everybody to keep track of what they've sent and what they're owed and all that. And I think what's happening with the shop is once we see that it sells, and they'll do wholesale orders. That's kind of the idea.
Very cool. I love that idea.
Yeah. I just find so many people like you, and I really think your stuff, the churn dash thing is so cool because it gets boring, and this one's really interesting. It's very interesting. So, again, if people are listening, go to, I'm going to get it wrong.
QuiltDistrict.com.
QuiltDistrict.com. And it's Tara, and you can buy a pattern. You can buy it at Etsy. It's only, I think it's like $10. It's $10.
Yep.
Go. It's so cool. We should all just be doing it. And we'll chat soon. Have a great trip.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard. You've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. We want to hear from you. Join our army, our quilting army. Go to our Facebook page. Suggest people to be interviewed. Suggest yourself to be interviewed. We are excited to hear from you. But most importantly, I hope you get a chance to quilt today.